Hello, I'm Shirley Woodcock, and I'm the Executive Vice President of Valley Oil Company. We are a fuel distributor, and some say supplier, marketer, jobber. But what we do, we distribute fuel by going to purchase from refining companies their end product. The refining companies would be Shell, Marathon, Citgo. And then we distribute them to the end users, the retail convenience stores, the trucking companies, farmers, marinas, golf courses. You can just think of us as the middleman between the refined fuel companies and the end people who use our product in the end. So I began working at Shankle Oil in 1977, just off and on while I was attending Tennessee Wesleyan, and then after I graduated in '78, I went there full time, where I learned from the ground up. Of course, my dad had good people working for him too. We've always been blessed to have good staff, good employees that really make us look good. And so I started with receivables, payables, payroll, customer service, human resource, everything there at Shankle Oil. So I was working there for 10 years probably, but right after I started, my brother came in a couple of years later, and so he was working at Shankle Oil too, more in the delivery side and the sales side. Then we'd both been there about 10 years, and an opportunity came up for us to purchase another oil company in Sweetwater. And my dad encouraged us to do that. He thought we were ready to go out on our own. So it was a little scary. We had to go to the bank, borrow the money, and then just start from scratch, really, with this small business in Sweetwater. The lady we purchased it from, her husband had just passed, and she didn't want to continue the business, so we were able to come in and help her out, and you know, it did help her. And so when we bought this business in Sweetwater, she owned 3 convenience stores, which my dad, he had never ventured out into convenience stores. So this is a new endeavor for us. And then we also hauled fuel wholesale too. So we did it all. And over the course of 15 years, we grew those 3 convenience stores to 20 in about a 5-county area. And we grew our sales distribution to East Tennessee, about 9 counties. And so we rocked along with that for a while. And then during that time, we also had opportunities to purchase other oil companies in the area that for one reason or another were up for sale. And so we just, there were about 4 of them, and that expanded our area quite a bit too. And about that time, there was one that came open in Chattanooga, and they were Chattanooga based. So we ventured out and bought the assets and receivables of a company in Chattanooga. And then in 2010, we just decided that we wanted to change our focus back to our roots of just wholesale. So we found somebody that would operate those 20 convenience stores. We just sold the inside operations, retained the properties and the fuel contracts, which was very important. By changing our focus to just wholesale instead of operating convenience stores, it allowed us to reach out further. And going to Chattanooga, we also went to Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, and parts of Kentucky. And so our footprint has increased over the years. We decided in 2018 that we needed to do a rebranding, and we dropped the Sweetwater Valley portion of the name and just assumed Valley Oil Company, because in the areas that we were in, you know, it just made more sense. And we did a whole re-image, new logo, new everything for the trucks. And you know, the trucks are the best advertisement we have. They're just rolling billboards every day. And I'm really proud of the way our trucks look on the road. And it has paid off as far as increasing our business. Well, this truly is a family business. And it started back in the 50s, really, with my dad operating a service station on Rossville Boulevard. And then at the end of like in 1959, he was given the opportunity to move to Athens and become a distributor. And so that's how it all began. And so my brother and I, we grew up in the business, and I have a timeline here on the wall of my pictures of the family and how we started, and a picture of the service station first, and a picture of our dad, and then him standing next to his trucks, which are the bread and butter of this business, is the trucks. And so you'll see a lot of pictures of them up there. One of my favorite pictures is of my brother climbing on the pure oil truck when they're in Etowah, fueling the General Lee, which has been preserved in the Railroad Museum in Atlanta. And what's great about this, we still, to this day, fuel the trains in Etowah. You'll see my brother and I climbing on the trucks back in the day, and then we recreated that a few years ago. And you'll see a picture of that, plus some of our newer trucks and the new equipment. Family members that have come in to the business, my son and daughter, Matt, he came in after graduating from Wesleyan in 2005, and he just took off running, and he's part of the distribution and logistics and sales. And then in 2011, our daughter came into the business, and she just took off with the customer relations. She's got such a good people skills and does receivables and things like that. Then recently, my brother's daughter, Michaela, came into the business after graduating from Auburn, and she's in Chattanooga, in the Chattanooga office where Scott is, because we've got this same office in Chattanooga that we have here. And we are truly a committed family business, and not just immediate family. I just feel like everybody that works here, that's part of our team, we're all family. And that's just the way I feel, and I hope they do too. I'm very blessed and lucky to have my brother as my partner. We both have a trust and respect for each other, and we share the same values and ethics, and I feel like that's what's allowed us to grow this business. And that started with our dad. Our dad, I guess he taught me my business ethics. He taught how you should treat your customers, how you should treat your employees, and just to work hard every day. You know, he always said, you need to be the first one there and the last one to leave. And that's kind of hard to do, but between Scott and I both, we've been pretty successful at that. And then, you know, just stay humble and kind throughout it all, and give back to your community. And of course, these are all things, I'm not telling anybody anything new. Everybody knows those are things you should do in a business, but it's just, everybody doesn't put it into practice. And I'm just a strong believer in those ethics that my dad taught. There are many challenges that we do face, and sometimes you don't even expect, and you don't even know when they're going to happen, but like we had the hurricanes. Our fuel comes through the Colonial Pipeline and the Plantation Pipeline that originate in the Gulf of Mexico. And when you have a hurricane, it just disrupts everything. And I mean, it stops production. I mean, the fuel comes. And then something that we experienced this past year that none of us had ever experienced before was the ransomware attack on the Colonial Pipeline. And it was shut down for weeks, and it took weeks to recover, because when they stop refining the fuel, it takes forever for it to come back to speed. Because you know, we're used to being able to go to the terminals and get the fuel and deliver it anytime we want. And when it stops, everything stops. But we have been very fortunate to always be able to at least find enough fuel to keep our customers supplied without running completely out. I mean, there are a few other places that you can get it, but you know, usually every source won't be down. But then when you have tornadoes, we're always on standby. We're on 24/7 for emergency workers like the utility boards. We make sure they don't run out of fuel so they can get out and fix the lines and things like that, and hospital generators. We're on 24 standby for them. So whether it be utility boards, private companies, personal vehicles. What we do is very essential to day-to-day life. I'm humbled and grateful to the committee for recognizing me for this award, but I have to say this award truly belongs to the entire company. I mean, beginning with my brother through to everyone who has worked with us throughout the years. Without them, this would not have been possible. It truly is a team effort.